Well, good evening, lads and lasses. Are you ready for tonight? Back to doing a bit more Portal. Oof, goodness. Oh, I've had quite the tiring day, actually. Always working hard. Goodness, these old bones are getting sore. Oh, so if I'm a bit more subdued than I normally am, which would be difficult, that is why. But yes. How have you all been doing tonight? Doing well? I streamed a short time on Tuesday, but I was quite tired that day too, unfortunately. Got a bit less energy these days, but such is the vicissitudes of being popular and capable. But yes, let's start with the classic question. Along with the question of how are you all doing and how have your week been, with the ultimately classical question I always begin this with. What poison have you chosen for tonight? Be it... Oh! Tiberian! A return. Wonderful. It's good to see you. Good to see you too, Tiberian. But yes. What's your poison for tonight, everyone? Is it water, like me? Or have you chosen a more sugary drink? I was playing around with a cocktail before this, but I couldn't quite get it to work as I wanted to, so perhaps next time I'll talk about it. But yes, some more Portal. Oh, that's fair enough. I don't drink all that much. I essentially am one of those crazy people, one of those madmen that enjoy, you know, nice tasting alcohol, just like you would enjoy a soda. So I don't tend to drink too much, and yes, I imagine it's a bit of a strange time to start drinking. Though I have known a few people who start drinking at 6 AM. Wouldn't recommend it. Let me start up this game. Oop, there it is in the background. Let's see if I can't get this. Jump over to the gaming screen. Turn that down for me. There we are. Oh. But yes. I used to not drink for quite a while. It took me a very... It's good that you know you've discovered that you're about yourself and you're able to control yourself. So good job there. Doing very well. Oh, hello, Cardbox. Good to see you're back too. Certainly something one has to be careful about. I've been blessed with a fairly non-addictive personality, so I am one of the lucky few, I suppose. Oh, look, it worked pretty quickly today. Oh, hello, hello, RT. A night full of return people today. Ah yes, I did do a bit on Tuesday, Tiberian. And this stream will likely not be very long either. Unfortunately, I've been quite busy. Ooh, cordial. Some would say cordial is just as dangerous as alcohol, but... Oop.
Fatty, no parents.
Hmm.
What exactly is wrong with being adopted? What's wrong with being adopted?
Now.
Lack of parents.
For the record, you are adopted, and that's terrible.
And also, nothing. But
Let me see. I got distracted by Wheatley's voice again. Put you there.
She's not fat.
I am not anymore. Just do the test. Just do the test.
But yes, I did a bit on Tuesday, as I was saying. Got distracted. And I'll likely only do an hour or so tonight as well. Fortunately, I'm quite busy and quite tired these days. I rather be able to stream a bit more, but it's a 4 AM start for me tomorrow morning, so one has to be ready. Now, let me think about this puzzle. Ah, that reverses it. I see. Yes, unfortunately, we have to work to earn our keep. And man can't survive on bread alone. If we could, it might be a lot cheaper. Oh, I believe that was actually how we were supposed to take out the turret. Oops. I should probably check down here if there's anything. Doesn't appear to be. Goodness. How could I... Oh, wait. Silly me. Silly me. There we are. Try and get the cube over here. There we are. Oh, wait. No. Goodness. Surviving on bread and cheese. Practically the Buddha there. Surviving on almost nothing. Water and that honey drink that those Buddhists drink. Could probably make a religion out of that, Tiberian. Release some kind of self-help book. Start a cult. I'm sure people would be impressed enough. Ah, yes. Bring it back. I've always been mildly worried about my weight, but I've been doing pretty well recently. I am, according to my BMI, I am technically overweight, but only by 1 kilo, so I'm keeping that as a proud moment. My doctor says I'm quite healthy, so that's one advantage. But I can see why one would want to. Ah! Living on toasties alone, as they say. Do you call them toasties over in America? I imagine you do. Can't imagine toasties is that dramatic of a name.
It's not enough! If I'm such a moron, why can't you solve a simple test?
I might have pushed that moron thing a little too far this time.
Good old cheese toasties. Classic. Ooh, I haven't had a cheese toastie in a while. I might have one tomorrow. Well, actually I won't, because I'll be at work for most of the day.
Now he's playing classical music.
I suppose Walmart cheese toasties may have been a difficult thing. Yes.
Oh, sorry.
Fortunately, they don't quite build things like they used to. I remember I had a sandwich toaster that lasted decades.
That's just what I was doing. Just reading,
There may still be a sandwich toaster in our family that has been around for quite some time.
Just now the hardest one. Machiavelli.
Grilled cheese.
Don't know what all the fuss was about.
Ah, grilled cheese. Ah, I suppose I recognise that, yes.
Well, on with the test.
But yes, in Australia we call them toasties. Cheese toasties, ham toasty, egg and bacon toasty. I don't know if that exists, but it probably does. Popular amongst alcoholics of... Popular amongst the alcoholics and many others. As they tend to be. For some strange reason. I suppose they're salty enough to restore the salt you've been vomiting out all night or sweating out all night. Now. Ah. Is there a button? Ah, I see. Now. Toasties, eh? You could do with a toaster. Just eating dinner though, so it's about 8 PM here in Australia. Nice and dark, quite cold, because you would be having summer and a heat wave over there, but it's... Well, it's just coming off winter here. starting to heat up finally. Because, perhaps that. I think I may have figured out what they want me to do. Maybe. No. Not quite. Actually, maybe, yes. Ah, yes, a Jaffel, eh? It's a good one. Heard it's been quite a heat wave over up north. Has Florida? Are you in Florida? I believe you mentioned Florida last time, so I'm going to assume Florida. Have you been hitting that whole heat pocket that they've had over most of the United States? And yes, I would recommend Jaffles. Jaffles are great, especially when you've got leftover, like, spaghetti bolognese. It's quite a good thing to throw in a Jaffle. Now. Oh dear. That is certainly not good. I've heard it's gotten up to, I believe it's 100 or so, or over 100. I believe you guys can get over 100. I've genuinely forgotten how the Fahrenheit system works again. I'll remember, I'm sure. But yes. Goodness. We've had quite a cold winter here. Last year we didn't have much of a cold winter. It was fairly warm. So it's mostly the west and east coast, or is it just the west coast? The fellows in Japan for the Olympics have also been having quite a hard time. It's quite hot over in Japan right now as well, and so all the athletes are having a hard time. At least the ones that aren't used to that sort of heat. I sometimes wonder if it gives the Australians and the Japanese a home field advantage. Because they're both really similar climates, occasionally. Especially if you came from Queensland. Classical music. Ah. I feel I heard it got hot like that recently somewhere though. Ah, okay. I think I may have figured out what they want me to do. Hey, there we are. Now, let's press this button and finally get a damn cube. And now, oop, dear. Right, that's a bit rude. Ah, in Arizona. I just thought it was always Texas that complained about the heat. Did I get that hot? I've had a few Texans always boast about how hot it gets where they are. Yes. That's the problem in Queensland as well.
There was nothing! There was nothing!
Gets quite humid, especially in North Queensland where you're getting to the belt of Capricorn, but some parts. Though I suppose right now Texas is most well known for their frozen spots, so maybe they're not allowed to complain about. Maybe they can complain about how hot and how cold it is. But yes, in North Queensland it gets really quite humid. Ooh, blue screen of death, fellas. Oh no, that's a blue screen of actual death. Molten core warning. Goodness. If my computer started having a reactor meltdown, I would be very worried.
A little bit closer to me. I'd have thought maybe proximity to the test solving might give us stronger results. What was that? Oh, sorry, I could have sworn you said something.
He's taking us right to him. This is perfect.
Smack. Didn't even realise I could do that.
We can't hurt the big old god face.
Yes. Oh, goodness. All this talk of different countries is making me want to travel. Ooh. How am I going to stop this? There we are. Have you travelled much, old Tiberian? Oh, I can suppose I'll give the whole chat the question, not just Tiberian. Have you been much of a traveller in your time? I feel like we talked about that last... No, we talked about our parents and different things last time, didn't we? I'm not very good at this. Did I get that one? Yeah, there we are. Nah. Just block these fellas. Yes, I haven't been much of a traveller either, unfortunately. Maybe I've always been a bit scared of spending money, but... I've not left Australia many times either over my time. It's a bit of a shame. Though I've recently picked up an interest in travelling over to Japan and perhaps doing a few walks around the place. Well, this whole concept of why I started streaming was introduced to me by my Japanophile nephew, so it's not surprising that I've recently got interested, but unfortunately I don't think it'll be happening anytime soon. But where'd you go when you left Florida? Ah, damn it. Europe's been the place that I've seen the most of. Just your normal places, unfortunately, nothing too exciting. Just go with the thing. Oh, I'm gonna get shot, aren't I? Throw that down. Clever. New Jersey. Well, that certainly isn't far from home, I suppose. Well, America is quite big. One could probably spend their whole lives traveling just America and not actually need to go many places. I imagine you have quite the unique
Are you absolutely sure
state
you solved
system.
these correctly? I mean, yes, you solved it, but I'm wondering
Oh.
maybe there's a number of ways to solve them, and you're picking all the worst ways. No.
I spent a lot... I've travelled across Australia quite a bit, just moving from house to house and house to capital city, so I felt I've lived quite a nomadic lifestyle over my time. Not being in any one place for more than several years. So, I feel like I've travelled a lot, but I haven't really travelled overseas. Been to multiple Australia, but not all of them, yeah. I've never really been to Tasmania. But I've been most other places. But yes. And I, yes, haven't left the country that many times, unfortunately. But I have had a growing interest now. I've been able to save quite a bit. Yes. Shocking, that. I've managed to get my savings in order. Oh, went to Fiji. Ooh, aren't you fancy? Just as a holiday? Just went to Fiji? Sounds like you're living the life. But yes. I feel perhaps it's more things to a... Oh, I was on a band tour. With a school or just a band.
And then watch
School or band? Just...
get a more sort of concentrated burst of science.
Yes, I understand the feeling, mate. I've been trying the same thing. It is quite a difficult language. Ah, fancy school. Old private schools. But yes, I understand, Tiberian. I have had very similar issues with Japanese, unfortunately. Grammar is something I can remember, and perhaps I've had an easier time with grammar because it's about remembering rules, and I've learnt music over my time and all these various things, so rules are not the most difficult thing for me to remember, but... Goodness. Remembering all that terminology is quite difficult, and I've really fallen behind on it. Thank you for reminding me, Tiberian. I really need to get back onto organising another tutor. I had a tutor, but unfortunately they got a job elsewhere and could no longer teach me. I suppose we're looking for a cube. What would that do? Okay. Where would the cube be? Ah, there it is. Oh, you're never too old, mate. Oh, goodness, I knew a fella who was 50, 60. I can't remember, it was quite a while ago. He was a driven man, and he hadn't learned a language before. But I knew a fella who learned a language in his 50s and 60s, or maybe mid-50s, early 60s. Goodness, I can't remember. It's been so long since when I knew him. It was back in an hour or something. But from what I've learned, you're never too late. And it's something I learned from a few fellas I was working with paramedics. A couple of those guys, he became a paramedic when he's in his late 30s. Like, he went from accounting to paramedics. Like, that's a change, and he managed to do it, so don't ever get discouraged with that sort of stuff, Tiberian. And also I've heard Duolingo is great for gamifying it, from what I've heard, but it's not so great for actually learning. It's good to introduce the language, you know? But not also great for actually... Chat appears to have disconnected. Give it a moment. I might not be able to see what you're saying for a moment. Let's see if it reconnects itself. Strange. Oh, there it is. Yes. They do. They've been pulling it earlier and earlier. Unfortunately, well, I've done some training in TESOL, teaching English. Didn't do all that much, and I'm thinking of actually perhaps, if I want a change of career path, that's definitely where I'd go. Go teach English over in Japan or something. May as well use this stoic nature for something. But yes, they do start teaching them really quite young in a lot of the Asian countries. It's, I suppose, to try and get it, but the thing is, they don't learn much either. Start speaking to English in preschool. Yes, I was talking to a colleague who taught in Hong Kong, I believe, and she worked at a preschool for a while, teaching little ones English. So no, she was in a preschool of some kind, like a school for 4 or 5 year olds, 3, 4, 5 years olds kind of thing. So, and it wouldn't surprise me if they continued that kind of thing. How am I going to get up there? Because that's a... So it was probably, kindergarten or so. Preschool, kindergarten. One of the two. Interesting. But yeah, it's quite interesting, that whole teaching English, but languages, the most important thing about learning languages, I found, especially with young students, is passion. You can spend all the time in the world, and from what the research says, I've been looking at some research papers recently that friends have been sending to me. One of them had the most hilarious conclusion, but one of the papers... I was trying to fall into the... Oh, no, don't worry. Why I do streams is to talk to people, so there's no harm in it. I enjoy it. I do get a bit distracted, but I'll just figure out these puzzles at a slightly slower pace. So don't worry. Yes, what was I saying about that? Wait. There we are. Look at that. I figure out it eventually. I suppose what happens when yes, what was I saying? Yes. Most important thing about learning a language, and a lot of the time, is, I'd say there's two things: immersion and passion. the thing is, with a lot of people who come, even people who, and so immersion and passion are quite important. It's quite good to be able to immerse yourself. Yes, I was talking about the research paper. I'll get back to that. It has a funny conclusion. I might have to pull it up because I think I've kept it. Curious what that actually does. Ah, it turns that off. I see. But yes, the students that have been taught and I've seen don't tend to really learn the language as well, especially in classrooms. And I certainly was the same when they tried to teach me Japanese, French, Japanese for 1 year in like grade 3, Indonesian and French multiple times throughout my schooling life. Yes, I'm surprised they didn't start trying to teach me Latin, frankly. A lot of schools did have Latin back then. But yes, passion is the most important thing. And then after that it's immersion, because people who get immersed can also learn quite a bit quite quickly. I see. And yes, it's a difficult topic, I suppose. But don't, as long as you feel like you want to learn the language. But that research paper, I believe it had something silly. I'm going to pull it up, so give me a moment. I think I kept it saved. Yes, VTubers are quite a big thing now. A lot of people have, yeah, they're quite, I find, well, they speak normally, which is nice, because things, I've learned that, you know, things like anime and stuff like that don't have that sort of, they don't speak normally in TV shows, so that's quite difficult to use, but, no, that's not that one. It's gotta be one of these. Ah, here it is. The study, I found the study now. It's about getting them to speak, classroom social factors, and foreign language anxiety. It's a pretty important subject, because it's a pretty, you've probably felt it, that fear to speak out in the second language. Yes, that's true, they do speak casually. And yeah, if that's probably the form you'd be using the most, if you were over there. Because I don't think they'd expect a tourist to be very polite. But yes, foreign language anxiety is a very important topic in teaching English and teaching any language. So this study explores foreign language anxiety. Fair enough, yes. That would be. I suppose it's true. I probably would use more in polite language. But I always have the lingering fear that I'll be overheard by someone. I'll get the soap again. But yes. So, this study here, the findings of this study show that Japanese EFL learners experience a higher levels of foreign language, EFL is English foreign language learners, English as a foreign language, EFL, of FLA, foreign language anxiety, as a result of teachers' age, friendliness, and tone of voice presentation as evidenced in their dress code. This is making the conclusion that language teachers should therefore dress and appear less formal in class to alleviate FLA. I found that very funny because it is associated, it comes with a picture of a man in a Hawaiian shirt, which, it's just a funny thing I wouldn't have expected from a research paper. Maybe it's just funny to me, but you know how to get those students to like you? Wear a Hawaiian shirt, apparently. Now, how am I supposed to get this thing? Ouch. May not have been funny for everyone else, but it was funny for me. Alleviate, wear formal clothing. But most classrooms don't tend to have formal clothing. Well, yes. I've heard a lot of people actually, speaking of immersion in the culture, if you're learning. Well, I can't remember which, it depends on, well, it was a small research paper, I don't think it was a very big one. Getting them speaking. And usually the ones with that kind of getting this speaking kind of thing tend to be a bit more fun. They're a little less official. It was back in 2015. Published in the TESOL Journal. I don't know how good the TESOL Journal is. So I can't say I'd say I know how much. But I've definitely done a quite fair bit of research on foreign language anxiety. For myself, if nobody else, and there's quite a lot of things you can do. And it's really quite sad how quite a few of the Asian cultures have a real problem with foreign language anxiety. Because if I was interested in Japan, I wanted to see the problems that were affecting Japan, so I did a bit of research on it, and it seems that willingness to communicate in the second language is quite a sad thing in Japan. They don't do it much. Okay. I need that. Oh, yes. So I need to... Oh, it's all about the right, and also, yes, if you get, there's certain journals. The journals all have their own rating system, so if you want to find journals that are what you would say are the most, unbiased, of course, there's nothing that is unbiased, unfortunately. I wish there was. Unbiased would have been wonderful to exist. Ah, there it is. I was distracted, I didn't see the old... let me get up. Okay. Yes, some paper research journals are like that, but I believe most... You should check, there's a few sites that... Oh, yes. Oops. There's always some shady places that love publishing anything that gives them a nice headline, you know? But, unfortunately, that's the way of money, I guess. It's true! That's why I'd say I'd rather stick to the big ones, your big papers. Your big journals, like your Lancets and stuff, but even those fellas are unfortunately vulnerable to poor times. Ow. Vulnerable to a fair bit of silliness. Because the Lancets were that very famous paper with the... started that whole craze of anti-vaxxers started, I believe. It was in a very good journal, the Lancet. They kind of published it because it sold copies, and it was not a good idea. But be not I the judge. That is not what I meant to do. What I meant to do was this. And this. There we are. Put this here. I think I figured this one out, fellas. Almost done. Then I will put portal there. And there. Ah. Dang it. Oh dear. I screwed that one up. And... I have made a strange machine, haven't I? These little bastards don't want to get over. There we are. Finally. Now the puzzles are solved. We won't make all that much progress tonight in this game, but... I suppose I should ask.
Oh, you just solved it, didn't you? I told you to tell me before. Why are you making this so hard for me?
This fella seems like a junkie. Goodness.
Specifically designed to make bad decisions, because I think he's decided not to maintain any of the crucial functions required to keep this facility from
But I feel like I should ask. Tiberian, I assume from what you've said, you've had experience with VTubers before, and that's likely how you found me, but... what was the VTubers that really got you into the whole scene? What did you see first? And I extend the question to everyone, of course. I know there are a few people lurking about.
Was self-destructing, already fixed. Programmed in one last tremor for old time's sake. One or two more tremors in there, just for fun.
Because I'm always curious. I asked the question on Twitter actually today. Oh, yesterday. Oh no, it was today. But it would be interesting to see what you say about the first VTubers that you've watched. Now, how would I get over there? But yes, because the first VTubers I was shown were, goodness, I think the first one I was shown was, I wrote it down somewhere. I remember writing it down, but I can't get the name. It's escaping me, unfortunately. Oh, I see. So I can. Send these further. Oh, I see. Don't think I'm far enough. Ah, the Korone Ikambukum video. Ah. Yes, that's a similar thing there. I was shown early last year, around Christmas, before everything. Early last year. End of 2019, early 2020, around Christmas time. Oh, really? Most degenerate thing. That's always a good way to start. I'm a flu-bone addict at this point. Well, I was shown a few videos, and I think the one that made me laugh the most was certainly a bit of a childish one. I believe it was the, Marin, the pirate one, from the Hololive company, I believe. And I was shown another video by my nephew, and then the recommendations, you know, the next video recommendation, you know, on the top right corner. Ah, yes, I did hear about that one. But yes, the recommendation showed... which one was it? It was one of her ones about... Oh, that's right, where she just went all out about some topic. Ah, I can't remember. I'll have to go look it up. I never understand. Marin. I can never get the pronunciations right. I cannot understand. Marine. So like Marine, like U.S. Marine. I see. Ouch. What does that button even do? Ah, I see. Let's play this game a bit. I always thought it was pronounced like Marin, because that seems to be a bit more of a pronunciation that makes sense, but yes, Marine, I say. I don't know why I pronounce it like that, just a habit. Yes, it was probably Marine. I keep saying Marin. Ah, I see. 19. I mean... Suppose it doesn't work well with my accent. But yes. What was the first video I was shown, though? Probably something of Coroner's. But maybe not. Maybe Swiss is. But yes. Man. Got some great term. Oof. Goodness. They all choose. It's always a bit of a throw up of how they're actually going to pronounce their own name, though, when it comes to this kind of stuff. Because, of course, with Japanese, a T or a D in the vowels. I suppose I think Australian English, so it's easier to pronounce for me. That's fair enough. Australian English is very different from American English, more like British English. I don't know. Don't know if it was Fubuki's videos, but yes, after I was shown this stuff, essentially a similar thing happened to me. You know how YouTube 100%, I'm gonna say, they definitely listened to me, because the moment I talked about these damn VTubers, they turned up on my recommendeds. And then I watched one of the videos, and pretty much all of my recommendeds have been that since, so. And then eventually, I was convinced by my nephew again to do this myself. So, here we are. I decided to go with a bit more different style. I don't know if I was quite into the anime style. So that's why I look almost very Uncanny Valley. I like my face. I wanted to get something very similar to it, so. Now, I need to get that from there, so. See if I can't. Well, yes, it was definitely Marine. I'll just say whatever I want, I suppose. I'm too old to change. She was definitely one of the one that really made me think it was quite a funny thing. It was a personality I didn't expect to see, you know? She was certainly a personality I didn't expect to see. Ex-office lady. Pirate cosplayer that insists she's very young. Hey. But yes, since then I've been watching them pretty consistently. I'll probably watch a clip or so every day. Mostly the Hololive stuff, as it's the stuff I got it. But yes, they pronounce because a lot of them have chosen names that it's hard to say if they were choosing them off Japanese names that are popular in Japan, or if they were choosing them. I was supposed to angle it up there, wasn't I? I've really screwed this. I can fix this. I think I was supposed to put it up on the thing. Whoops. But yes, they use a lot of katakana sort of pronunciation, I suppose, so. Hey! It's a bit difficult occasionally to tell how they were meaning stuff to be pronounced. Ah, there. Does this get burned up? Yes, she also speaks quite quickly, so if you want to learn how to listen to Japanese at speed, she's certainly your girl. I suppose it's the charisma that comes from having to survive in an office environment. Oh, it doesn't destroy it. Wonderful. We'd all probably become very charismatic if we had to go through a Japanese office. From what I've heard, they're probably one of the worst places when it comes to office culture. Think I can make this jump? I think I can. Way! Well, yes, I've just used a couple of, I just wanted to be simple, and the suits and borders all contain Celtic crosses and Celtic bindings. It's other than Australian, I was born in Australia, but my family has a very heavy Celtic heritage. And so I wanted to represent a bit of my personal heritage, because it's as much as I love Australia, there's only a few very specifically Australian things, and I didn't really quite feel like being a Darrow Australian, a bit of a a bit of a bum in Australia. Yeah, your classic. Let me get the voice. I can do this voice very well. The kind of train lurker that goes, "Oh, you want a ciggy, mate? Yeah, yeah, bro." And I wasn't quite willing to do that, so I wanted this nice suit, and I wanted something that represented, part of my heritage, which is the Celtic symbols, because I believe both sides of our families are Scottish Celts and Celts on one of the east in another European country. I've forgotten, but yes, that's significant. It's a representation of my family history, personal family history. So I just wanted to have a bit of a representation, and I didn't want to, use something that didn't personally apply to me. I know a lot of others would be okay with dressing up as a soldier, or dressing up as a soldier or some stuff like that, and I didn't really feel like being a pirate or anything like that, so other than the Australian... Oh dear.
Oh, no, that's not helpful. I don't know why I thought that would help.
After seeing what he's done to my facility, after we take over again.
But yes, I got distracted by the game. But yes, Australia has a few wonderful heritages. One of the main things is the Anzacs, and their uniform is very striking, which is great, but I just can't. I can't bring myself to dress up as a soldier. It's just very much against who I am. It feels almost like stolen valor. It's also why I didn't end up putting any scars on my character, because I don't have any facial scars, and I just... Speaking of facial scars, I actually have a very funny story to tell.
Getting a test ready for you.
Yeah, it's true, there's not a lot of options, and as much as female clothing would be very amusing, I did see that fellow from Niji Sanji that's dressed as a maid, and that was very funny. He is a very funny guy. But I am personally a suit kind of man. I do own a few, and quite a few clothing. It would have been that or an old-style greaser, I suppose. Leather jacket or the like. Old biker. But again, I've not driven a bike in a very long time, so it kind of feels a bit weird.
Reminds me, I've got a big surprise for you two. Seriously, look forward to it.
But yeah, so I got quite limited by my own personal feelings about how... the running gel, I see. My own personal feelings about how I should represent myself in this, so Celtic was the best I had at the time, unfortunately. But... I chose a suit, Celt, and that's the wonderful patterning on this suit. I may change one day if I ever decide to change. I got distracted. I was going to say something, wasn't I? What was it? It was... yes. I've done a fair few suits over my time. Suits and jeans. And shoes! If you buy a good pair of shoes, they usually last a while, but when I stopped using them, or perhaps I bought a nice pair of work boots and no longer needed them, I usually donate those ones to charity shops, but... speaking of charity shops, I found a wonderful pair of expensive shoes at charity. I'm very good at charity shopping, perhaps due to my upbringing, but I'm very good at... Where is this? How do I get that to deattach? Ah, I don't. Push it over. pull it this way. Oh dear. Dang it. Whoops. But yes, scars, that's right. I was going to tell a story about scars. See, this is a story my mother told me quite a while ago about a fella she knew that worked on a farm. This old mate had a heap of guys who worked under him who were quite superstitious. Can't remember what they were superstitious of, but they were quite superstitious. And they believe, you know, magic and all that sort of thing. It was quite a thing that could exist. And why I thought about scars, and it was something I considered, having a scar on my character. I quite like that aesthetic. But this fella, he was so funny. He realized that when he went away, he was the owner of the farm, and these are some contractors, so I can't remember who they were, but they would work on the farm for a bit of pay. And he realized they weren't working when he was actually, you know, not there. So as long as he wasn't watching them, they weren't actually working. They were being a bit sneaky about all of it. No, wait. And so he had a false eye and lost it in a farming accident at some point, I believe. And so I just realised, how am I going to get that portal in there? I bring the block in here, probably. That'd be a smarter idea. And so he decided, I know what I'll do. These guys believe in this kind of magic. So he took out his false eye, his glass eye, and would sit it up above the floor, the shearing floor. Because they were shearing sheep at this farm. And he noticed, well, a lot more work was getting done. These guys genuinely believed that this glass eye was able to allow him to see from a distance, like some sort of D&D character. And so, they were working, but one of the smart fellas decided, hey, if he can see through the glass eye, then I just need to cover the glass eye. And he only discovered, he was like, and so, after a couple of weeks of realizing, wait, these guys have dropped back to not working all that much again. These guys have gone back to being a bit lazy. And he came in he kind of did that, then you walk out, you're printing it, and you came back in. Yeah, that would be quite a cool power to have. And yeah, he came back in and they had put their hat over his eye. And because he couldn't see them anymore, they just stopped working, or worked quite slowly. It was really quite funny. Oh dear, I've just killed myself. Oh, so much setup for that. Yes. And it was that story that inspired me to think, maybe I do want an eye. A glass eye or some such. Have like a false eye on my character and get it to animate randomly. You know, be like a possessed magical eye. Perhaps one day I'll still do it. But I just couldn't bring myself. I just feel kind of guilty, you know. Feel like you're a bit like I suppose I feel like I'm a bit like I'm catfishing. So. Oh well. It's the trials and tribulations of creating a character design, I suppose. How am I meant to... Seems there's something... It's not what I'm meant to do. But yes, I genuinely believe because D&D's been around for a while at this point, I genuinely believe D&D has a spell like that. I suppose. But there's a few things. Physical injury is something. Yes, I know, but I feel a bit squeamish about putting physical injury on my character, I suppose. And I am very close to a lot of the veterans and soldiers of my country, of Australia, so well, you can tell, because earlier on my channel you may not have seen, but I did my own Anzac ceremony. Anzac is our Memorial Day, I suppose. And yes, maybe I'll update my character design eventually. Perhaps I'll get one of those 2D ones. I went with 3D this time, because it's something I could understand more, but Perhaps I'll go for 2D next time. When I redesign the character. I'm sure I'll get around to doing it. And I'll probably allow myself a bit more. I know it's about escapism, but it's those principles, I suppose. One always feels a bit squeamish about some things. How do I actually survive this jump? Oh! I think I might have figured it out. By jumping into the, old... beam. That's it. There we are. Yes, I know. And I think a magical mystic eye would be a very good character trait, so keep it in the head. I'll probably keep the motif of Celtic symbols too. Maybe add a few more Australianisms in there. I just realised I didn't put the portal in the right place. I just jumped into the void once again. Goodness gracious. I'm not doing well with this. Ah, dang it. Let's do this whole thing again. But yes. Here's a question. If you fellas that are listening would make yourself a VTuber. You would make yourselves a VTuber. Which one would you make yourself? How would you make yourself? You know, what stylings would you go for? Mystical? Would you be an elf from Out Whoop Whoop? A pirate from the Caribbean? Might want to watch out for Disney on that one though. Some sort of magician, circus performer, like I believe one of the Hololive one is. There's been quite a lot of very creative character designs. I knew a man who was I know one that's just a straight up orc man, which is quite amusing. An orc man in a business outfit, like an office worker outfit. It is an office worker outfit from, I'd say, more Japan than anywhere else, but be not I to judge that. Ah, that's fair enough. Frankly, Tiberian Fiend is a wonderful name. That's some almost VTuber level stuff there already. But yes, fair enough. Fair enough. And over we go. There we are.
You two are going to love this big surprise.
In
fact, you might say.
There we go. Tunnel of...
To love it
Tunnel.
to death. Love it until it kills you till you're dead.
Wow, you certainly tried in that one.
I don't know whether you're picking up on what I'm saying there, but
Thanks, we get it.
Now, I did say a hippie with a guitar. Oh, really? I didn't realise.
Alright, he's not even trying to be subtle anymore.
That's very interesting. Wow, clearly somebody who made that name was paid well and should be paid more for their job, because that is a wonderful name. It sounds almost Greek in nature, doesn't it? Sounds like something you'd hear from a Greek, or like classical Greek or Roman tale. The Nemean lion sort of thing. There's other ones, I know, but yes. As I've said, it will be a short night, just a short hour, and we're coming up to an hour in 30 seconds. Unfortunately, it's been a wonderful time. It's great to see you again, Tiberian. Glad to have somebody. Command and Conquer, isn't it? I don't think I have. I've never really much played those. Well, I've played a few. Yeah, Ages of Empires and stuff, but I've not much played Command and Conquer. So, yes, I'm getting quite tired, and it's an early morning tomorrow, so... Getting quite tired, and it's early morning tomorrow, so unfortunately, I'm gonna have to say goodbye, but it's been wonderful, Tiberian. You've been giving us some good company. It's nice to have a new regular beyond the normal regulars that turn up. Old Cardbox and RT. My greatest fans. Ah. Ah, I see. Command and Conquer, Siberian Sun. Yes, yes. I see. I've always wondered at some point, shouldn't I give those games a go? It's been a while, but I feel like playing a lot of games that would give me nostalgia. But yes, but it'd be nice. Good to see you, and bye. So, good night, sweet dreams, or in your case, good morning, sweet day. I don't think it quite works, really. Don't think that's how that works, but yes, it's been wonderful. And thank you for the other two, of course, who were here. And any that I believe a few wandered in through, from what the analytics say. A fair few have wandered through, so thank you to those people as well. And probably Sunday when I'll stream one again. Sunday night. Ah. I'll give it a look. Perhaps once I finish this, I'll do a stream or two of one of those sort of games. But yes. I shall call the night. I keep getting distracted. It's like a phone call that I can't hang up on. But yes. Good night, and good day. Have a wonderful time. I hope to see you next time.